Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright. Well, I can tell you, I had a very long sleep night. Slept, but forever. It was one of those. I went to sleep probably by 6:30, honestly, because it was already dark. Wasn't no Laker game on. My body was not feeling well. It didn't react well to the food that I was eating. Like I told you guys, everything I try to doctor my food up with has eggs in it or milk in it. And so as I try to get away from certain things and I try something and it works, and then I find out it doesn't work after a while. That's what it is with the potato salad. So it's giving me a lot of mucus and it's caused a lot of trouble yesterday. Even walking home yesterday, I did a video. I actually deleted that video. I was just venting about some things that I didn't really want to get into. I didn't want to keep. I didn't think the video was that great. But walking home, I felt sick. The whole walk from the train station, I felt not myself. So when I got home, I was not well. And so I just went to sleep at 6:30 and woke up at 1:30, meditated, didn't even look at my phone at all. But the thing about it was I had some interesting dreams in that first sleep. Since I slept so much, I had like 4 different dreams. But in that first dream, it was like I had some people in a room with me, and it was like 4 dudes, and they were trying to get me to kind of go along with some energy that I wasn't with. And they ended up making fun of my shoes because of it. It was like, oh, you're not rolling with us on this? Okay, cool. Well, look at these shoes, you got holes in them. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I woke up out of that dream. In half sleep, half awake, as I was waking up out of that dream, I could see that there was a blinker outside here. And the blinker was, in this window here. It was like a yellow blinker. Yeah, it was blinking. Had to be about, I feel like 9:30 or something. I don't think I even checked, but it was probably around 9:30 at night. And as I was going through half sleep, half awake, I could feel once again, as I told y'all once before, somebody felt like they had either gotten out of my bed or was walking around my bed. This time it didn't feel like they got out of the bed, but I could feel their footsteps right next to my pillow. And I could see them walking. But it was like half sleep, half awake, and I could see the blinker. So the room was like kind of yellow. And when I was trying to see who the heck it was, so I turned over. If I was facing the opposite way, so I turned over to see who it was, and I could see their back. And they were wearing like some type of, I'd say the color was like watermelon red inside watermelon. And it was like a silk robe. And they walked toward this closet. And when I started to realize I turned around, and when they turned around, it was my mom. I was like, hey, Mom. She said, hey, baby. And that was it. And then I woke up. Now, mind you, as I'm telling you, I was half asleep, half awake when I saw her, so my eyes were already half open. And as I opened my eyes, she had disappeared, but the light was still, the room was still the same color because of that blinker. So it was almost like I really did see her in like a vision. I meditated, slept a little bit. There wasn't nothing too serious about that to me. It was almost like she was alive. And she'd often wear something like that. I even have a picture of her wearing a robe like that. So when I saw the robe, it was kind of like, oh, it's Mama. It wasn't like, oh, Mama's an apparition and it passed away. It was like, oh, it's Mama, just like as if I lived with her back in the day. And so when she turned around, my reaction to her wasn't, oh my God, it was more so, hey, Ma. Yeah, like literally that. Because that's how close we were to where even if she's a ghost, it's still gonna take some seconds for me to realize that she's not actually alive. So for me, that's what that was, and I woke up out of it feeling pretty good. No crying, no weird feelings, just like nothing. It was literally like nothing. That was what is just as strange about it, is how I reacted to it after I woke up. It was almost like, yeah, that's cool. And I felt like she was showing up because I'm going through a lot, you know what I mean? Just in general. She usually shows up when I'm feeling a certain way. And so that's what it was. I took that as something to just think about and meditate on. Went back to sleep, and she was in the next dream. This time she was in the dream, but it was one of them situations where we weren't getting along in this dream. I was doing content, and I don't know what the room was. It didn't look like any room I'd ever been in, but it looked as if the camera was on like that type of cabinet. It was like the camera was facing that cabinet, facing me, but on the cabinet placed there. And it was almost like I was standing here facing to the cabinet, and I was getting ready to start my video. I'm going, hey, BDF 44 coming at you with another video. And she stepped in front of me, literally in front of me, facing that way, and was going to talking about people who had passed away. She started, like, literally stepped in front of me as I was doing my video, and then proceeded to say, rest in peace to such and such and such and such. And the person that she said rest in peace to is not dead. And I'm not going to put that in this camera because I don't want to put any light to that at all. But the person that she mentioned is not dead. And that's when I was like, yo, stop this. I turned my mom around. I turned her around. Like, I literally physically turned her around and said, no, Mom, I'm doing my video right now. You can't step in front of me like that. No, I'm doing my content if you want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And she fell back onto the bed. As if I don't think I pushed her, but she had fell back onto it as if I had pushed her. And then she said something like, why not? Just like we would in real life if we would have argued 20 years ago. And we got into an argument. I'm like, nah, we ain't doing it. And we just started going in a banner. I don't remember what was said, but it was as if we were arguing again. It was that combative energy that me and my mom often had when I was like 17 and we would argue, living together. So I woke up out of that dream. I'm like, all right, it's a second dream my mom was in. This time it was an entirely different energy. And then I said a prayer for the person she mentioned, because I'm like, yo, that person ain't dead. That person is not dead, yo. And I don't want nothing to happen to him. So it was like that. That was how the dream went. I woke up out of that probably about 1 o'clock. It's like 1 a.m. I don't think I was up for much longer after that. I went back to sleep. I meditated just long enough to realize that my chest was really sore from all the push-ups I had done. I was sitting there kind of talking to God about some things I was worried about, thinking about, or whatever. Just random stuff. I didn't even trip too much other than to say that I meditated and went back to sleep. I went back to sleep. And in the third dream, it was a situation where, now this is what makes it confusing. So it looked like I was in the apartment that I used to live in Hollywood. And as I told you guys, a lot of times we were in the same room. So it was like me and Mom. So it was like a pull-out bed. The bed that turns into 2 beds to where you can, I don't know if they still make those, probably not, but what you would do was pull the bed out from under the couch. So it was like this, but it was sort of like as if it were a couch, and then you would pull out from under here the bed itself and pull it all the way out, and then she would be able to sleep on the couch bed, which was also like a mattress, and then I would have a bed next to it. So this is exactly how the dream went. So it was one of those situations where I'm on the bottom bed, like I always was, and I looked up because it's a little higher, just like this is shaped, and it wasn't my mom in the bed. It was some actor. It was what's that dude from I don't know his real name, but he's on that show on Channel 4 that I used to watch all the time. Damn, I can't think of it. But it was some actor, and I looked over, and he was laying in the damn bed, and I asked him, I was like, hey, can you help me sell my art? That's exactly what I asked the man, as if it was normal that was going on. And he was like, well, what kind of art do you have? Like, he was like, you got to have a lot of them. I'm like, bro, I got 7,000. He was like, that's exactly how many I want you to have. All right, we can do something with that. So let's get up and go. And so we ended up getting up. He got out, I got out of bed, got up and got in the car or something like that. And it was like I was fast forwarding. And it was as if I was in the show he was in. What's the name of that damn show, man? I wish it would come to me. I don't know. I may think of it a little later. But it was some actor, bald-headed actor, white guy, older dude. He was on a show that a lot of people liked that was on a couple years back, where he had his daughter, but people didn't actually know that was his daughter. And, you know, they were like secret agents, kind of like that kind of thing. And he was like a bad guy or something like that, but really, really in tune with everything going on in the world, to the point where he had connections everywhere. Y'all probably know the name of the show. It'll come back to me later. But that was that actor. And I'm like, what the hell? But either way, it was like one of those situations where we got into the car, and it was almost like I was in the show he was in. And we got to Franklin, that street that I was showing you guys near Hollywood, near the bottom of the hill. Closest to the hotel, there's a street that heads down next to that hotel that I showed you guys. I don't know if I can explain it to you. I don't remember the name of the street, but we were turning on that street, and it was like a car accident. It's like a car accident that had taken place, and then it was like fire everywhere and stuff like that. And we ended up getting out of the car and getting into a shootout with somebody who was in that car. It was like we were in the show. And then from there, it was almost like we teleported closer to the hill. It was almost like we just kind of moved the screen, panned away from the car accident up the hill. And I started realizing where I was at that point. I'm like, oh, we're right next to my apartment. Where I'm at, where I grew up, we're right next to it. And so we went up the hill, and then we fast forward like as if we was just teleporting straight through up the hill and around the area to where Ivory is, where my house is. And I ended up finding myself right next to where the apartment was I grew up. And I was telling them, hey, this is where I grew up. And then I saw my mom right next to the apartment near the where the post box, what do you call it, the mailboxes were. And you probably, if you watch that video that I did there, you kind of could get an understanding of where we were. That little walk-up area, and I was pointing at the numbers of the apartment, 2041. That's where I used to live. And then I saw my mom, and I hugged her, and I started like beginning to weep in the dream. Like I saw my mom outside the apartment, and I just hugged her, and I ended up weeping. And as I was sitting there weeping, she was like, oh Lord, please help me get for my baby his toys and his horses, and he's going through some tough stuff right now. She was saying as I was hugging her and weeping, she was like, that's why I'm here, because he's going through something tough right now. And then I woke up out of the dream before she was able to finish her prayer for me as I was hugging her and crying. So 3 different dreams my mom was in. And I wanted to document that because that was throughout the course of a long night's sleep, from like 6:30 at night. Woke up for about an hour to meditate, went back to sleep, woke up for about an hour to meditate, went back to sleep, and woke up at like 6:30. So basically 10 or more hours of sleep, man. And all 3 of the dreams had my mother either in it or walking through here or something. I don't know what the heck. But that's what it was, man. I wanted to document that and let y'all know what that was about. Just like I always try to document my dreams. But that last one was the one where I finally like really knew she had passed away, and it hugged her in front of the place where I grew up with her. She raised me in, and just all the pain that's going on in my real life was coming out as I was hugging my mom, and all the thoughts that had happened from going back there over the last couple months, once or twice going back to that place. It just gave me a better remembrance, a layout of where I was at and how it looked over there, so it looked more real to be there. And I just felt like she was coming to those dreams to not only comfort me, but to remind me of how I didn't always treat her with the greatest respect. In that second dream, we argued and stuff like that. It's just energy that I would have never did that in real life. Ain't no way. If my mom come in here and step in front of me and start doing the camera, I'm gonna be happy she's in front of me. I may want to move to the side because it's like, why are you blocking me? But the way I was acting was as if I was 16, 17 years old, who didn't have any control over how the enemy would use me against her. And that's what came to mind. It was like, a lot of times I didn't have control over my energy. I didn't understand that kind of thing, for which I was talking to you guys about in the last therapy session, or the one before that was like 54 minutes. How about energy and how the enemy would use me, and how he could use you if you allow him to, through your pain and through your resentment, through your doubt, through your sin. Me and my mom had conversations about that a lot back in the day, and that's really what it was. The enemy was using me a lot of times through my rebellion and through my frustration and my mental health to kind of lash out at her when the energy wasn't even bad. When she didn't even start an argument, I would be resentful toward her. I would, get at her in a way that wasn't positive. And, just be resentful. I would be angry at her happiness sometimes, because that's how resentful I was for some of the stuff that had happened leading up to that point that I blamed her for. And it was really just the devil trying to get into me to try to ruin those moments and ultimately coerce me into bad karma, for which would then be coming later, for which I'm going through now. As my homegirl Kay is basically doing the same to me. I thought I was coming at her with good energy. She attacked me for it. It's like, yo, that's the exact same thing I used to do to my mom when I was a kid and didn't understand how the enemy was using my pain and my nonsense against her. And it's like, that's what it came to me. That's the message. It was like, yo, she's going to have to deal with that one day with her own children. They may have a way toward her, or somebody that she, because of how she's doing you, in treating you this way and pushing you away when you're trying to be good, trying to be nice, trying to be caring. That is basically what you understood from the second dream. Is like, anybody that does that has to understand that that's going to come back to them in a way when they're long past that, or later on, or even soon, however it goes. They're going to have to understand that the enemy's not only going to use them to hurt the people in front of them, but someday that karma from which you deserve for having you done that is going to come back and get you the same way. And I think that's what's happening now. That's what the Lord was trying to convey to me in so many ways. It's like a lot of the ways you used to treat your mama, when you used to snap at her when she'd be in a good mood, or you would act a fool when she was not doing nothing, you start a fight when there wasn't no fight. Now the enemy is coming back around using somebody you care about to do that to you when you know better. When you no longer are willing, or you don't have your mother to do that too. Now that's when it's happening to you. You're getting all that energy back. It's coming back to you in this way. So to understand it, that's what I got from it. To understand it and know what it feels like to be on the inside of that by way of that dream, because you don't have nobody you're doing that to no more. But remember how it felt to lash out and to just be mean and angry, and when you can handle things so much better, and to know how that feels to be on that side when you have that resentment, that you harbor that defensive energy, or you harbor that desire to attack somebody just because you feel or whatever you feel. It just came to me like a thousand lashes, man, and I just understood the fullness of it. Like, this is coming back to me by way of this person that I care a great deal about, whom is, kind of been mistreating me by way of her own opinions and pain or whatever she got going on. And to not think for 1 second that the Lord won't do the same to her someday for doing it to me, just like he's doing it to me by way of her for doing it to my mother. And so it's like, that's deep, man. That's what I took from it. And it's true, and I was praying about that this morning. I woke up in the morning, I was like, yo, a lot of that energy that I had that was not of God was used to trying to ruin my mother's happiness, ruin her mood. And I would be upset about the trauma I had been through. I would be upset about whatever I was hurt about, whatever she had done that I didn't appreciate. Even though it probably wasn't even due, she probably had every right to scold me or take something from me based on my behavior, trying to discipline me or whatever. And I would harbor that in such a way as if I had been wrong through my selfishness. And the enemy was able to use that selfishness, that self-centered nature, that whatever it was that would make me lash out, that resentment. And the intention was to ruin her mood and to coerce me into bad karma, man, as I've already said. And how to perceive that now when I see it coming back to me is to be humble, not to lash out and do it any further, not to return the favor, so to speak. Let that energy be as it is, and to pray the prayers necessary to assure that I'm not using that fire to manifest any resentment in me that would then put it in me to do it to somebody else, only for it to come back to me again. And so it's just like, Lord, I want to grow here. I'm thankful that you showed me my mother in 3 different lights, and the comfort was the last one you showed me, and you allowed me to let pain out rather than to harbor it when I saw her. And that's just it's so parallel for what it is that I think my friend may be going through. It's so parallel to understand that the enemy's trying to coerce her into bad karma. The enemy's trying to coerce her into attacking what is otherwise supposed to be supportive energy, and maybe using what it is that I think is supportive energy to be the wrong way of going about it, so that she would otherwise be offended about it. So it's just a lot of things that I think the enemy's trying to do to attack my friendship with this person and ultimately coerce her away from whatever it is the Lord wants me to complete in her life, whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing. He's trying to dead it early, but the Lord is trying to remind me of what it is I need to do to keep that energy from continuing to go back and forth. And putting my mother in that dream and kind of having her step in front of me and then just remind me of how I used to feel when she'd do certain things I didn't like, and how much vitriol would be in my spirit for her that was not right and was not due, was so much more so than what it is that ultimately I felt was coming my way. I wanted to hit her 7 times, so to speak, for her one hit, that kind of thing. Not to say I would hit my mother in real life, but you know what I'm trying to say, I believe. It would be like 7 times more. And just so much anger and so much resentment for her good energy for me. And so that abusiveness, that mental abuse that I used to apply to that based on my selfishness is something that I know I'm due. I know I'm due that. I wasn't always a good son, and I know that. And so now that I have the best of intentions and getting lashed for it, it's like, yeah, thank you, God, for teaching me that lesson. Thank you for giving me my karma. Thank you for giving me the wisdom to want you to teach me these lessons and hit me with what it is I deserve, so that I not only am not coerced to play with you again in that way, but I'm also understanding the fullness of what it is that's coming my way and what comes with it. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's real. I'm not saying that I'm innocent in everything in regards to my friend K, but I know that the last couple of weeks of what I've been going through, I ain't deserved none of what came my way from her. But I definitely deserved it in regards to how I treated my mother back when I was about 15 through 23. All the adolescent phases that I went through, that I just had so much resentment backed up for her. Yeah, I was a bad son some of the time, you know. I really was. We had good times, but a lot of times arguments would be started by my energy. I'd just be angry. I was unhappy at seeing her a lot of times. And it's like, that's the God's honest truth. And now that she's gone, I get to regret it. You know what I mean? Now that she's with the Lord, I have to be reminded of that. You know what I mean? I'm forced to now relive it in these dreams, in its own way, and then relive it in my life as it comes my way. So, you know, it is what it is, man. We just gotta nip that energy in the bud and learn how the enemy uses us to do these different things, as he wants to provide so much hurt in our lives. You know what I mean? She ain't gonna be here forever, my friend. I'm not gonna be here forever. We don't know when the Lord's gonna take us away. And given the fact that we both have lost so much, I think I need to do a better job of respecting her space as I learn to, or keeping her at a distance so that what she does can't burn me. And she needs to learn how not to. She needs to learn how to use her energy to best appreciate the people that are in her life while they're there, and communicate better so that the enemy can't use that lack of communication to create distance between her and the people that she wants to understand her. And so that's what I think it is. I appreciate seeing my mother. I appreciate the energy, all three. I think good came from it. I felt comforted, and I'm staying close to the Lord, man. I'm not allowing anything to coerce me into bad karma from here. I'm not wishing bad upon my that friend of mine there, Kay. I'm not looking at her saying she's doing this independent of her and the enemy is only the, no, it's a lot of that's karma, a lot of that's energy that I welcomed from years ago, and I don't welcome it no more. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. I should have treated my mother better, but I didn't know to, and the enemy used that ignorance against me, but he won't use it anymore. You understand? It's that kind of thing. And now I look at things through energy rather than just looking at it as people doing certain things. That's the devil behind a lot of what people do, based on their pain and various different negative energies and their perception of negative energies and how they feel they have to deflect against that or protect against that or defend against that or however it goes, when it's not really that. So I tell you to read energy as well as you can, filter the different things that you do through your faith, and make sure that you make decisions that are going to hurt other people. You make sure it's what God wants you to do, and you know, love the people that are in your life, man. If you have vitriol towards somebody that's based on old pain, that maybe they did something, maybe somebody else did something, you want to apply to them. Maybe you have something in your life right now that ain't no good, that's coercing you into being angry, and now you want to take it out on them. Just remember what it is that I've said here. Remember the lesson I've learned here, and know that that energy does come back to you when you don't even realize you deserve it. When you're long past being that way, when you've long grown from being that way, that's when it come back and get you. So I hope that good energy does the same. Now that I'm trying to do things the right way, hopefully it can come back to me later when I don't, when I'm not expecting it, and bring forth a peace in my life that I would now deserve from this. So that's what I'm hopeful for, and I pray for all of you guys in regards to receiving my message here and beyond, whatever is best for you. So that's pretty much what I got. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.